Hi, Brian Whiten's filling in for Buck Lavasser. Welcome to another edition of Discovering. Tonight we'll pay a visit to the West Branch Sportsman's Club in Scandia for their 11th annual UP Predator Challenge.
This year we had 27 animals come in. We had 24 coyote.
Then a trip to Michigan's Ice Fest in Munising for yet another use for ice in the Upper Peninsula.
Pictured Rocks is world famous for its ice formation.
Then it's off to Hermansville to find out what the UP Trappers Association is doing to help kids interested in the sport of trapping. Stick around, it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forests thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Canis latrans, which means barking dog, is commonly known to us as the coyote. Despite being extensively hunted, the coyote is one of the few animals that has enlarged its range since human encroachment began. As populations of coyotes increase across the Upper Peninsula, predator hunts are becoming more and more popular. Although the predator hunts include bobcats and fox, the mainstay is without a doubt the coyote. It all started 11 years ago at the West Branch Sportsman's Club in Scandia when a group of hunters decided to put together the first UP Predator Challenge.
It all started with the guys wanting to have something to do in the wintertime. There wasn't much to do besides ice fish and rabbit hunt, and at that time the rabbit population was on a downward slide. So a couple of guys got together from the club and they decided to start this predator hunt. From one club in 2003 to numerous places across the Upper Peninsula and probably the Lower Peninsula having a hunt. It takes us probably about 2.5, 3 months to put this thing together. We go around and talk to various businesses and sponsors and see if they'll help us out, and a lot of people do. There's three major sponsors that this just wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Midway Rentals, Adventure Arctic Cat, and Bark River Knives. They are just absolutely wonderful people for us. We really appreciate their support. This year we had 27 animals come in. We had 24 coyote, we had 2 bobcat, and we had 1 fox. It was a beautiful fox. I understand the gentleman's going to have it mounted. That's the three species that we allow. We're calling only and baiting. We don't allow trapping, roadkills. We get guys, girls, we've had children that are old enough to hunt. They come all across the UP. We've had hunters from downstate. This year, I believe we had at least 1 woman in our hunt. There might have been 2. And I'm sure there were a couple children that, if nothing else, they sat in the blinds with their dads to get a little taste of it.
Predator hunts certainly are becoming very popular. Many of the Sportsman Club across the UP are either holding one or sponsoring one, so it seems every year another one kind of crops up. Questions come to me, is this going to affect, negatively affect the population of these species? Bobcats certainly, like I said, are very low numbers utilized at these events. Fox are just anecdotal things too that really don't come up in any numbers that would concern us. As far as coyotes go, Our coyote population is very good. Early stuff that we've seen in the predator prey work that we've been doing in Menominee County and are continuing to do now in Iron County suggests that we likely have populations approaching about a coyote per square mile in the Upper Peninsula. So again, the numbers that they are taking at these harvests simply are not going to affect those population levels. And you can even look historically at what's been done with coyotes. Practices that are certainly not socially acceptable anymore, such as gassing and poisoning and aerial gunning and those kinds of things. We're still unsuccessful at wiping out coyotes. There's still just as many, if not more, coyotes across the United States. So really, we have no concern that this is going to have a negative population or negative effects on the populations of coyotes. Another secondary positive effect that this predator hunting could have is we do experience a significant amount of coyote depredation to livestock owners in the Upper Peninsula, as well as in other parts of Michigan, even into northern and southern Michigan. In fact, our coyote depredation almost is on par with the amount of wolf depredation we get in the Upper Peninsula. So any effects of removing some coyotes close to farms and those kinds of things can have that added bonus of helping out that local farmer possibly lower depredation rates on his livestock.
A real common question we get is what kind of firearm can I use to predator hunt in Michigan? If it's daytime hunting, there are no restrictions outside of firearm deer season. If you're within firearm deer season and you don't have a firearm deer license, and then you'd be prohibited from using centerfire rifle or a shotgun with buckshot, slug. But if you do have a Michigan deer license, you can use any firearm. When it comes to nighttime predator hunting, you're limited to .22 caliber rimfire rifle only, or a shotgun, and you cannot use buckshot or slug loads at night. As far as bag limits go on coyotes, we get a lot of questions. If there is a bag limit, and there is no bag limit up here, you're limited to 2 bobcat, 1 fisher or pine marten, and 3 otter. And it's good to look in your hunting guide every year because regulations and rules change, and you can get kind of behind the 8 ball if you don't pay attention to that. Some years you might be able to take more, some years less. Keep you out of trouble by taking a minute to look at the major regulation changes. Another issue that we face quite a bit that's important to pay attention to is bobcat, fisher, marten, and otter need to be brought in and sealed. If there's no seal on those pelts, a taxidermist won't take them, you can't sell them, you can't do anything with them, and there are deadlines for all 4 of those animals. Again, it's very important to take a look at the guidebook. Not just to look at the major regulation changes every year that may or may not have happened, but also it's important to note that the hunting and trapping seasons start at different times depending on what animal you're targeting and depending on if you're resident or non-resident. And then also on the tail end of that, like we spoke about earlier, the bobcat, fisher, otter, pine marten, any of those are required to be sealed. And the reason for that is that if the season ends, say mid-December on a species, and you want to bring it in March, how do we know you didn't catch it, in that period in between when the season was closed? So that's a way to control that. Nighttime predator hunting with a light is okay. You're not required to wear hunter orange if you're hunting during the hours of darkness. You're restricted to using .22 rimfire or smaller caliber rifle, and you're restricted to shotgun without any buckshot, slug, loads, or cut shells. And also, talking about hunter orange, you don't need it at night, but during daytime hunting, if you're hunting coyote, fox, and bobcat and you're stationary, you don't need to wear hunter orange anymore. That's a fairly new law. Electronic predator calls are legal in Michigan. Just keep in mind that when it comes to turkey and waterfowl, those are the 2 things that are unlawful. So anything else that you're okay to use.
Along with the predator challenge, we also do a lot of things for the community. We have 2 sessions of hunter safety. I think we've had over 350 kids that have gone through our hunter safety. We really work with the parents, a guardian or something like that, to make sure the child understands the dangers and the pleasures of shooting guns, and we give them every opportunity to pass if we feel that they're qualified. And we have a women's only shooting night where we invite the women to come out that basically have never experienced guns or shooting guns. We supply all the ammo and we supply the guns. If they want to come out and experience it, we shoot trap. We have hunter sight-in days in November where it's just if you feel like leaving a donation, that's fine. If you don't feel like leaving anything, that's fine too. We had a 150-yard target along with 50 and 100s. This is all something we do to the public, and when we're open to the public. And if anybody's interested in becoming a member, they can come out and fill out an application. I don't think we've ever turned down anybody.
Nice custom-made Bark River knife.
Just a wonderful place to be. We've been in existence somewhere around 57 years. We've come a long ways. We got a new clubhouse. It's absolutely getting to be an enjoyable experience to come out here, especially in the summertime. You come out here in the evening and it's nice and quiet. It's pleasurable for me, and I'm sure it is for everybody else that comes out here. It seems to be a pretty good place because we have the same hunters coming back year after year after year, getting in our Predator Challenge. And it's nice to see those faces every year. It's good to hear the stories.
Don't miss the Woodtick Music Festival in Hermansville, Michigan. 4 days of great bluegrass, country, folk, blues, and rock and roll. Over 25 bands, fun for the entire family. Carry-ins welcome kids 12 and under free. Buy your tickets and campsites and find out everything you need to know online at woodtickfestival.com. That's woodtickfestival.com. The Woodtick Music Festival in Hermansville, Michigan.
434 participants from 11 different states and 6 different countries showed up in Munising for the annual Michigan Ice Fest.
Well, the Michigan Ice Climbing Festival has been going on since 1990, and it's one of the oldest ice climbing festivals in the country. And Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore is world famous for its ice formation. And that's what draws all the climbers from all over the country here to climb the spectacular ice out on Lake Superior. We have people coming up from Kentucky, from Texas, from Alaska. They're coming from all over, and what draws them are these beautiful ice formations. Pictured Rocks is a sandstone. It seeps water, which freezes in the winter and just forms these beautiful pillars and seeps that attracts all these climbers. So the other thing that draws climbers up here to Munising is we have instructors that come from all over the world, and they are the best climbers in the world. So I always liken it, if you were going to a basketball camp and your instructors were Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson, that's what this festival is for a lot of the climbers. So they come up here, they can take a lesson from these professionals, learn how to climb, they get really psyched on the sport, and then in the evening we come back to Sydney's and we have a little party, and these folks show slides from their climbing expeditions that take place all over the world. So what happens is a lot of people right now are checking out gear. They don't have any climbing experience, and that's what's unique about our festivals. A lot of people come up, have never ice climbed before, and this gives them the perfect opportunity to try it out. So they can come up to Sydney's, they can check out all the gear. We set up all the climbs out near the lakeshore, and then we have folks out there to help instruct them. So it's kind of giving them the opportunity and learning. So they're swinging ice axes into the ice. That gives them purchase for their hands. They also have something called crampons on their boots, and that they can kick into the ice and it sticks. And so it makes for a really unique opportunity to come out and try this sport. A lot of folks think that it's a real dangerous sport. I think ice fishing is a lot more dangerous than ice climbing, so this is a really unique opportunity for folks to come out and give the sport a try, and we do it every year the first weekend in February. The great thing about this festival is it's not just a young, fit person's sport. We have young kids trying it out for the first time.
Yeah, perfect. High as you can go, Alex. Nice, there you go. Again, get that one again. One more time, come on.
Left foot, where your left knee is, where your... Bring that right foot up.
Freezing.
Ah! Okay. And upside down.
Upper body away from the ice now, don't lay out there. Get that left foot in though. That's the hard part, is going over the top, because the ice lays back and you want it naturally to lay on it, which will kick your feet out. You want to keep your upper body away from the ice and look at your toes and take baby steps to get up over it. Because it naturally lifts your heels, which you don't want to do. So keep that upper body away, stand up straight right in. Now you can make a start. There you go. Excellent. We have senior citizens out climbing as well. So what you need to do is just have the motivation to come out and try something new. You know, a lot of people think that it's really, really cold out. Well, I say there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. So we even have clothing that people can try out, keep them nice and warm, and then they can get some exercise. Also, people say it's really for upper body strength. And I disagree. You know, I am not the strongest guy in the world, so it's the smart climber that uses their legs. Their legs are a lot stronger than their arms, and the legs are what gets you to the top of the climb. We mentioned before, Pictured Rocks is a world-class climbing destination, and it's not that we have just a few climbs here. We have literally thousands of climbs. So we have Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, which many people in the Upper Peninsula are familiar with, 200-foot sandstone cliffs rising out of Lake Superior, and it really doesn't get any more dramatic than that. We also are very fortunate to have Grand Island just a little ways offshore, so people can ski or walk or snowmobile out there, and then you have 27 miles of ice climbs, and it just really makes for a world-class climbing destination.
This year marks the 8th year for the UP Trappers Workshop, which is all about introducing kids to the great sport of trapping. Kids get instruction on how to successfully harvest fur bearers and get them ready for market. They leave with a better understanding of the sport, as well as enough trapping supplies to get them started.
This is our 8th annual Trappers Workshop. Originally started by Rick Arduin here locally in Hermansville. And he got the brainstorm to get it started here for the kids, to do something for the kids in the wintertime to keep the art of trapping going, you know, and keep the heritage going. So that's what we do. We have a little workshop. We do some weasel boxes and some demonstrations, and we have 2 dealers come that locally support us throughout the whole year, actually, at our conventions and stuff. So we allow 2 dealers to come in and set up their booths, and they have stuff for sale. One of the dealers, Richard Clark down there, he buys furs for NAFTA, and he also buys furs here as the workshop is going on. They do a really nice job of skinning and fleshing and stretching. Richard, he always does a fantastic job for us, you know, promoting the sport. And then we have some furs for sale here that people donate to us, and we're looking at setting up a program for trappers education. We sell the furs and then we put the money into the trappers education program. A lot of people don't trap in the wintertime, but it's just something to get out, and if they are trapping or doing some cable restraints or something, they can pick up some supplies. And then we always have some really good volunteers here locally. Our club, District 3, usually puts this on, and we have good support from several members to help put it on. We had a lot of kids. We must have gave out close to 100 weasel boxes again. There's got to be close to 100 kids here again. And there was about between 250 and 300 people we got signed up. I guess the big thing is to get these young kids started and to show the proper management of wildlife, because people don't realize without trapping, you'll have diseases and stuff like with your coyotes, you'll get the mange, and the fox and the raccoon will get the mange. And if you get beaver that are overpopulating somebody's lake or pond or river, they can do a lot of damage with the trees and the landscape. So there's a lot of management that goes out. And the DNR doesn't manage the resource. The trappers and hunters and fishermen actually manage the resource for the DNR. The DNR actually puts a set of rules and regulations that we have to abide by to manage the resource. So when you think about this, it's the hunters, fishers, and trappers that are out there taking out the surplus animals, and keeping everything in balance so that everybody can live in harmony. Like we said, just try to keep the heritage of the young trappers, get them started, show them the right way to do things. Next time we'll get together for a big event is usually our annual convention is held in Escanaba. The last few years we do a regional convention, and it's kind of centrally located in the UP, and that way everybody can come from different directions, and we put a nice display of dealers and demonstrations going on for 2 days, and we always try to get a big name trapper or predator caller in to promote both hunting and trapping. And we also have some other recreational vehicles and stuff like that there. Upcoming in 2014, we're going to have the national convention, which will be dealers from all over the country, and that'll be really big, and we're starting to already get that organized as far as how many people are going to come and people to come and help do it, promote it, and all that kind of stuff.
A quick note, the UP Whitetails of Marquette County annual banquet has been switched from February 16th to the 15th, and switched from the Ishpeming Armory to the Great Lakes Room at Northern Michigan University. And a Buck report. Buck's recovery from back surgery is moving along nicely, and he hopes to be returning soon. Well, that's all for tonight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.